this video, I'd like to illustrate how someone could rename frame components inside of the frame generator, either as they're creating the frame or using the Design Assistant tool prior to checking them into Vault. So I'm going to go ahead and just create a very simple skeleton to start. I have just a very simple frame I'm going to build because the example doesn't need to be very elaborate for what we're doing. And then I'm going to save that. Let's call it frame 3. And then I'm going to go ahead and place some framing. So again, the type of framing I'm placing doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to be all that complicated, so I'll just do some square tubing. Taking a second to load. 2 by 2 by 1/8 is fine. And I'm just going to place it, I should say, right on the boundaries of my skeleton. And then when I click OK, this is ideally where I like to name or rename things. So for example, if I've got a frame here, I might call it XC-102 underscore frame or something like that. I like to include the project number in the front. So I'll grab that XC102, and you could do that for the skeleton if you want to. Delete, home, Control V, etc., etc. And check and see where things are being saved if you want. I'm just going to go ahead and hit OK for now. And then this is usually where it's the bigger bear. It's all of these individual files. And so if we look at the end of this bar here, I click on a name, I can choose to rename it here. And I just note where it's going to be saved, frame 3, the frame subfolder. And I click on it. And so I find frame 3, frame subfolder. And this is where I can come in and add Control V, that project number at the very beginning, save it, and now this one's going to be the one and then 2, 3, 4, etc. down the line. But let's say we didn't do that. So if we don't name them up front and I hit OK, it will produce the generic naming based off of the Content Center. And so when I save this, the problem occurs is that I might have another frame assembly that has exactly the same name, and that can cause issues inside of Vault when multiple files are named the same thing. So at this point, I'm just going to go ahead and close Inventor. And then I'm going to load up the, going down to Inventor 2018, I'm going to find the Design Assistant. So now I've launched the Design Assistant right from the Windows Start menu underneath the Inventor 2018. It just happens to be the version I'm using. And I'm going to go ahead and open up my frame assembly. So I have to find my frame assembly. Here's frame 3, frame, and there is my subframing assembly. And I hit open, and this is where we have access to the metadata, the file names, etc. I like to toggle to the manage view if it's not already there. And then what you need to decide is what do we want to name these files. And notice here that even though I renamed one of those files, the XC102, to the first framing member, it still didn't update the part number. So you can come in here and edit that metadata as well. If we right click on it, for example, we can edit that data. But what I really want to do is I want to rename, using the action column, the file. And so I'm just going to go ahead and rename all 3 of these at once, or not at once, but set them up to be renamed. And then I click and right click on it, and I can change the name. So I click on the change name. I'll pick on the first one that I want. I'll go ahead and copy this. Control C for the next time. And then I'm just going to rename this one to number 2. And I hit open. And so now you see it's changed the file name, and it's also changed the part number. And I can change the name here as well. This would be number 3. And then I'll do that last one, number 4. So once you've made some of those modifications, all you have to do is save it. and then we're going to reopen it in Inventor. Alright, so once we're inside of Inventor, I'll just launch my frame 3 one more time. And we can see, well, wait, the names didn't change. But if we right click on one of those individual frame members and look at the eye properties, we'll see that the actual file name, and if we look at the part number, that has changed as well. So it did update, and so if you want to fix your browser, you can choose one of these enhancement tools, click on the browser names, you can choose file name or whichever you wish, and then hit apply. And so now it's renamed those files based on what we had set up, and we're good to go. So again, this is a method that you can use if you didn't name them up front, but you do want to rename them before checking into Vault. You can use Design Assistant to do that. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to reach out. Otherwise, have a blessed day.